the Toronto Argonauts. Last week, Toronto defeated the Grey Cup champion Edmonton Eskimos 30-22. Toronto quarterback Conrad Holloway connects with wide receiver Terry Greer for his second TD reception of the year and Toronto's third victory of the season. Toronto's in first place in the Eastern Division, 3 points ahead of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who'll be looking to burst the Toronto bubble tonight. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, proudly presents for the third consecutive season coverage of professional football from Canada, featuring the Canadian Football League. From Iberwin Stadium in Hamilton, Ontario, it's the Toronto Argonauts versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Brought to you by Natural Light, the beer with a taste for food. And by Timex, timekeeper to ESPN. Timex, we make technology beautiful.
When the feast runs deep, fresh and flavorful, what's more natural than Natural Light beer? Ah, Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch, the beer with a taste for food. Just naturally right with all those good things from the sea you love to eat. So when you've really put something into a meal,
what's more natural than Natural Light?
Question about it, the heat is on here in Hamilton. The Ticats were the preseason favorites to walk away with the Eastern Conference. That has not been the case so far. As a matter of fact, they find themselves 3 points behind the Toronto Argonauts heading into tonight's ball game. And the question has to be, what's wrong with the Ticats? Who better to answer that than their top quarterback, Tom Clements? Tommy, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is offensively. Our defense has been playing very good football, and our offense has been moving the ball. It's frustrating that we're the top yardage gainer in the league, and we've lost 3 games, and we haven't been able to get the ball in the end zone. I think the main problem is we've just been making too many mistakes, too many turnovers. That includes interceptions, fumbles, and we're getting critical penalties at the wrong time and just breaking assignments at the wrong time. And if you continually do these things, you're not going to get the sustained drives that you need and get the ball in the end zone, and that's been the problem.
Well, that's what happened recently. What's going to happen tonight? How do you plan to attack the Argos?
Well, the Argonauts have been playing very well defensively. They employ 6 defensive backs most of the time, especially the last 2 games. And they like to blitz a lot and put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So we plan to roll out a little more than usual and hit some quicker passes against them and not let them put us in a bad position on second down. We think it's very important to get positive yardage on first down so that we have a second and short situation where we can run the ball or throw the ball. And against 6 defensive backs, if we get in that situation, the run should be fairly effective.
Tommy, good luck to you. And right now, let's go over to Leif Pettersson.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts have won 3 games in a row, and although the offense has come up with a big play, the story to their success has been tough defense, and nobody's played better than number 31, Zach Henderson, who anchors that defensive secondary. And Zach, I wonder how you're going to defense that potent Hamilton Tiger Cat offense this evening.
Well, I think the important thing is, and probably the key to the game, is how we contain Tom Clements, and we're not going to be able to let him scramble around in the backfield and complete those patterns on the broken plays. And also, we're going to have to get some pressure on him because, you know, if we don't get pressure on Tom, he just sit back there and, you know, he's an excellent quarterback and he'll complete a lot of passes against us.
Zach, quickly, why are the 1982 Argos so much better?
Well, I think we have a young ball club, and I guess the most important thing is our desire to win. We want to compete and want to be competitive, and we want to win a lot of games.
Zach, good luck tonight.
Thanks, Lee.
There is no question this is the most exciting ball game we've had between the Argos and the Hamilton Ticats in a long, long time. But here it is, Friday the 13th. On top of that, we have a situation, of course, whereby the Hamilton Tiger Cats in games against the Argos at their home park, Ivor-Wynne Stadium, have allowed the Argos to win only twice in the last 12 years. Maybe that's why the odds makers have decided that Hamilton should be 4-point favorites. Personally, I'm very surprised. Here are the Cats coming into this game, and they have been having trouble. They got upset by Montreal. Here's Toronto coming in after the biggest win that they've had in many a year over the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Argonauts in first place, 3 points ahead. Despite that, the Argos are underdogs by 4, and the reason is Ivor-Wynne Stadium. But I'll tell you, as Conrad Holloway, the quarterback of the Argos, told me, he said, you know, Bill, he said, the difference this year with the Argos is you tell the young kids about the problems they'll have at Ivor-Wynne Stadium, and you know what they say? Ivor-Wynne Stadium, where's that? They don't know about the Argo Pass, all of the problems over the years. And now we're going to our national anthem. The Toronto Argonauts and the Hamilton Ticats are all set. We'll have the opening kickoff in just a moment.
Now.
And now we go upstairs to a couple of fellows for whom Friday the 13th holds no superstitions, I hope. Pat Marsden and Leif Pettersson. And fellows, I think we're in for a good one.
Well, I can assure you we're in for a noisy one anyway, Bill. Bernie Ruoff is set. Cedric Mitter, John Lowe, and Terry Greer are deep. And this will be John Lowe from his 2-yard line. Lowe gets out over the 20 to about the 22. Good containment there by that Hamilton special team, and the Argos will be starting inside their 25-yard line as Grover Covington, the big defensive end, number 66, was first down to make the stop. We'll set up that Toronto Argonaut offensive alignment for you as you see Conrad Holloway, of course, is the starting quarterback. Cedric Mitter had a big game against Saskatchewan. Bob Brock can run the ball too. And as you look at the Toronto receivers, David Newman, of course, is not in there tonight. Rather, Jan Karinci will start inside. It is first down Toronto on the first offensive series of the ball game. Holloway wanted to put it up. Everybody was covered, so he takes off himself, and he gets very close to the first down. Carm Cartieri was there to pin him, but Conrad will have close to a 10-yard gain.
Well, pretty good defense by the Ticats. They were in a man-to-man coverage as we see Toronto's offensive line anchored by number 69, Dan Ferroni. But Carm Cartieri had to cover Cedric Mitter out of the backfield, and this left Holloway open to scramble, and he broke that containment. Now the defensive ends of Hamilton have to keep Holloway inside if they're going to be successful on defense tonight.
Placement of the ball means that the Argonauts will have a second and 2 or 3 inches to go. That's how close Holloway came to picking up the first down. Boy, it's a noisy crowd here at Ivor-Wynne. You've played here, Leif. The adrenaline's got to be pumping for those guys in the yellow and black.
Well, it certainly does, Pat. Their backs are up against the wall. They know they have to play well this evening.
Early game, but a very important one. This is Mitter. Mitter has the first down. He's out over the 35 to about the 36-yard line. So Toronto on their first offensive series moved the yardsticks as Gerald Best, number 14, was there to make the tackle for the Ticats. All right, let's look at that Hamilton defensive line, and they played well.
Well, they really have, Pat. They're second in the league in total defense, and they've shifted this evening to a 3-man line with Jim Muller playing on the nose, James Ramey and Grover Covington at the ends. And you see newcomer number 75, Jeff Blanchard, is actually listed as a linebacker.
It is first down. Argos, the ball at their 36-yard line. Holloway throws. Minter makes the catch, gets the first down, and he's across the 50 to about the 52-yard line. Vernon Paul, the cornerback, number 27 on that side, was there to make the tackle along with Joe Kuklo, number 21, but not before Minter had picked up 16 yards.
Part of that run-and-shoot offense, Conridge Holloway dumping the ball off to Cedric Minter, and the newcomer, number 75, Jeff
Blanchard.
Jeff Blanchard, that's right, has him in man-to-man coverage, and I'll tell you, that's a lot of pressure on the young rookie to cover Cedric Minter one-on-one.
First down, Toronto. The ball at their 52-yard line. Back-to-back first downs for the Argos. Pearson makes the reception. He has another first down. And Pearson is down to the Hamilton 40-yard line. The tackle for Hamilton made by Howard Fields, their sophomore inside safety. The gain is 17 yards, 3 in a row, first downs, Argos.
Well, once again, Hamilton staying in that man-to-man coverage. You know, I talked to Ben Zambiese earlier this week, and he said that defensive coach Dick Roach insisted on playing that man-to-man coverage, and it really puts a lot of pressure. If Howard Fields has to cover Paul Pearson coming all the way across the field, and that's a tough job to do. As you see him trailing him from behind, he finally makes the play, but Toronto's on the move.
First down, Argos at the Hamilton 41-yard line. Bob Bronk, the big fullback, crosses the 40, gets to the 39. So he'll have a gain of just a couple as the nose tackle, number 69, Jim Muller, the former Queens University star, along with James Ramey, number 68, the defensive end, make the stop.
You have a look at the Hamilton Ticats secondary, and it's an excellent man-to-man secondary, led by the veteran David Shaw in the corner, having another good year.
It's second and long, the first time the Argos have been in this situation in this drive. 2nd and 8 yards to go. The ball at the Hamilton 39-yard line. The Argos have taken the opening kickoff and strung together 3 first downs. And now they're going to be called on a time count violation. Here's the call from referee Lauren Woods.
Toronto, number 11, second down.
Well, I think really that Lauren Woods meant number 7 because that's the quarterback, Conridge Holloway. Number 11 is Mike Williams, who is the backup to Holloway at that quarterbacking position. And some people may say, well, a 5-yard penalty, big deal. It makes it 2nd and 13. But for Toronto, it is a big deal. Many of their passes, their routes only go 7 or 8 yards. Pressure on Holloway, but he got away from it. Now he dumps it off to Carinci. He has the first down. And Carinci is inside the 20-yard line. Jan Carinci, the Scarborough boy who went to Maryland University, picks up 24 yards, and the Argos have 4 straight first downs.
Well, Pat, I don't think that plays in the Argo playbook, but they certainly ad-lib very well here. As you see, Joe Kuklo doesn't know who to take, whether to pressure Holloway or come up, and he just dumps the ball off to Jan Carinci, and an excellent second down play.
Argos, first down at the Hamilton 20-yard line. Hard to believe these are the 2-14 Argos of a year ago. Cedric Minter, and Minter is all wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. Ben Zambiase and Carm Cartieri, 31 and 47, are there to bring him down. That linebacking brigade for the Ticats has Cartieri, 47, John Priestner, 36, Ben Zambiase, 31, and Jeff Blanchard, the newcomer from Rutgers University, number 75. And like so many teams in the CFL, Ticats employing their 3-man front. Holloway pumped once, could not find Terry Greer open, tried to release it to Cedric Minter, and the ball sails out of bounds.
Well, credit that incompletion to Leroy Paul on the corner. He did an outstanding job covering Terry Greer on the post pattern. That forced Conridge Holloway to try and dump the ball off, but the incompletion now brings on the Big Z.
Zenon Andrusishin.
We get a chance to see Terry Greer here, and Leroy Paul does an excellent job on the coverage, man-to-man coverage.
Despite the fact that the drive stalled, Bob Obilovich has to be delighted. Mouse Davis, the offensive coordinator, too, as Andrusishin's field goal is wide. David Shaw allows it to bounce through the end zone as Holloway now roughs it up a little bit out on the field. Well, you don't see quarterbacks do that too often. Joe Kuklo and Conrad Holloway roughing it up a little bit. But the Argo drive picks up only 1 point as Zenon Andrusishin was wide, and so it is Toronto 1, Hamilton nothing, and we'll be back in just a moment. Cats dodged a bullet on that one, a 67-yard drive, and all the Argos got out of it was a single point. First down, Ticats, the first time they've had the ball tonight. Starting from their 35-yard line. Clements is going to put it up. Does. It is complete to Ron Johnson. And Johnson is upended by Don Rose, but a big play to the wide receiver from Long Beach State, number 73. Ron Johnson, good for 24 yards.
Wow, excellent play-action pass by Tom Clements. Both wide receivers, Keith Baker and Ron Johnson, running a crossing pattern. And he finds the soft spot in the zone and makes the catch. And the Ticats looking very impressive on their opening drive.
Ball is at the Toronto 51-yard line. The toss is to Obi Graves, his first carry back as a member of the Ticats. And Graves gets into about the 47-yard line before Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, and Rick Moore, the defensive player of the week last week, number 76, make the tackle. The gain will be about 4 yards, make it 2nd and 6 Ticats.
Well, we have a chance to see the Hamilton Tiger Cat backfield, and number 23, Rocky DiPietro, as I mentioned in the top of the show, leading the league in pass receiving with 31 catches.
DiPietro and Rick House, to me, two of the great receivers in the game, both Canadians, of course. As Clements rolls out of there, fires, Johnson makes the catch. A pretty play. Poetry in motion for Ron Johnson, who just went high in the air and with his soft hands makes the catch.
Wow, was that ever a great play. The Hamilton Ticats flooding 3 receivers to one side, and Ron Johnson just goes way in the air, takes the hit, but makes the catch. You know, he's had 4 touchdowns already this year, the rookie.
He picked up 15 yards on that play. The Ticats have a first down at the Toronto 32-yard line. Clemens fires. DiPietro makes the catch and slips the tackle. And is inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Leo Gray missed the tackle. Steve Aykroyd finally made it. But DiPietro was able to shake free of Gray and pick up 13 yards on Friday the 13th.
Well, you know, that's a favorite play of Tom Clements, just to slip DiPietro straight out in the flat. And he knows if Rocky catches the ball, at least he's going to pick up 6 or 7 yards. In this case, he picked up a first down, but it's an excellent first down play because in most cases it leaves you with second and short yardage. As I mentioned, in this case, Rocky, with great second effort, picks up the first down.
That's 3 in a row first downs for the Ticats. Argos had 4 before their drive stalled.
Appears that Mark Braganola a little shaken up on the play. Ray Jones and his training assistant Jeff Howe to have a look.
Mark, of course, started with the Toronto Argonauts, then to Winnipeg, then here.
You know, Tommy Clements told me this week that it was so important for a team that's struggling to get off to a good start in a ball game of this importance, and they've certainly done that. Pat, they've come out and they've marched it right down the field, looked extremely impressive.
Well, as we see Mark getting up to his feet, that's a good sign because he does have a floating bone chip in his knee, but fortunately that apparently is not the injury. It's Toronto 1, Hamilton nothing. We'll be back in just a moment. Hamilton Ticat fans weren't too happy at number 11. You see the kid walking up. He had an Argo flag. But the Ticats are happy because they've got a first down inside the Argonaut 20-yard line. Flag comes down as Obi Graves, the ball carrier, gets a couple to about the 18-yard line. See what that flag's all about. Offside, Toronto is the early indication. Here's the call from Lorne Woods.
Offside, Toronto 64. First down repeated.
Leon Lescavage was offside, number 64. It'll be first down, 5 yards to go. Hamilton And for those of you who may have suspected that the Ticats were dead, don't believe it. They have looked impressive in this opening drive. With 6 minutes and 54 seconds left to play in this opening quarter, the Ticats trail 1-0, but they're on the move. The toss again goes to Albie Graves, but Rick Moore, number 76, hopped on his back and contained him to about a 2-yard advance.
Good defense by number 76, Rick Moore. He fought off the block of the right tackle, Marv Alamang, and made a good stop on Albie Graves. This is where it gets tough, to where the Ticats have had all their trouble this season, but they get down inside that 20-yard line, moving the football.
The Argo front four is Rusty Olson, 79, Leon Lescavic, 64, Earl Wilson, 58, and Rick Moore, 76, and they have been tough. This is Albie Graves again. And Graves drops the ball. The Argos have recovered. Well, wait a sec. No, the Cats get it back. About 6 or 7 different players had a shot at it.
Well, that's certainly a break for the Ticats. I can't believe Toronto didn't pick up that fumble. It looked like 3 Argonauts had a good chance at recovering it. As we'll see, Albie Graves, Tommy trying to cross up that Toronto defense, running the football on 2nd and 4 down there. But watch as about 3 or 4 Argonauts definitely have a good shot at recovering that ball. But luckily, Rocky DiPietro finally comes up with it.
All right, now the Cats have had problems with their field goal unit because Dave Graffey, who's a running back, comes in to center the ball. He gets it back, and Ruoff's field goal is good. And so the Ticats, with 5 minutes and 43 seconds left to play in the opening quarter, go out in front, 3-1. 2 impressive drives for the Argos and for the Cats, but the Cats got more out of theirs.
Well, it really was. And we get a chance to see the fumble again from the end zone camera. Really a pretty good hit by Steve Aykroyd. Knocks the ball out with his helmet. But look, it's just a free-for-all here going for the football, and the Ticats did recover. Pat did mention about the new center in there, Dave Graffey, snapping on 3rd down. I tell you, he shot a pop fly out of there. It was a good thing Tommy could bring it down and hold it for Bernie.
So now the Argos start from their own 35-yard line, and now they trail 3-1. Cedric Minter. And Minter gets to about the 38, not much further. Joe Kuklo and Gerald Best were over there to make the stop. Bob Obilovich, and what a job this man has done. Played for the Ottawa Rough Riders, coached with George Brancato in Ottawa, knows the Canadian Football League, has assembled a top-notch staff. And I'll tell you, his team in every game, preseason and regular season, has played with the desire that Obi had as a player.
You know, Pat, the way a team's special teams perform is usually a direct reflection of the coaching staff, and Toronto's special teams have been just outstanding.
It is 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Argos. Holloway again gets the pressure and is sacked back at his 33-yard line. James Ramey, number 68, gets the sack.
But I'll tell you, James Ramey must feel pretty good because he spent the entire training camp with the Toronto Argonauts, was released, and now brought back to Hamilton, and he gets his first sack of the ball game.
Ramey had him low. Jim Muller, playing the nose tackle spot, number 69, had him high. So Zenon Andrusician will be punting for the first time tonight. It is 3rd and 12, Argos. Howard Fields and David Shaw back to receive this punt. A high twisting spiral. Now this is Shaw. Shaw tried to get outside, but Mike Hamiluk, who is very, very active on those special teams for the Argos, was down to make the tackle inside the Hamilton 40-yard line. It is Hamilton 3, Toronto 1. We'll be back in just a moment. Argonauts, 1992 maybe, that young fellow. That's what he's dreaming right now. But the Hamilton fans are excited. The Ticats have the ball inside their 40-yard line on 1st down. The pass is complete to Baker. And Baker will have about 8 yards. JoJo Heath, number 24, the newcomer from the University of Pittsburgh, who, like all of that Argos secondary, have played so well in the 5 games to this point, was there to make the tackle.
Well, you know what the key for the Toronto secondary has been in their last 3 wins is they haven't given up the big play. They've kept everything. All the defensive backs have kept the receivers in front of them, just as JoJo Heath did on that play. Let Baker have the 8-yard out and then came up and made the tackle. But of course, the secret to their defense has been not to give up that big play.
Mind you, as Tommy Clements said, we want to pick up sizable yardage on first down, and then we have the option of run or pass on second. He throws, and it's complete. There to make the catch for the Ticats is Obie Graves, number 25. Zach Henderson, the league-leading tackler on the Argonauts with 25.5 tackles, is there to bring him down.
Well, Obie Graves out of the backfield. He's playing because Kyle Stevens hurt his knee last week and picks up his first catch this evening.
Obie, of course, started here in Hamilton, then went to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is his first game back. As the Ticats now have the ball inside the Toronto 50, first down. Good block by Graves. The pass intended for Baker was broken up by Don Rose. But Obie, I'll tell you, laid a heck of a block to allow Clements to get that ball away.
Obie laid a heck of a block, and he's feeling it. He's still down, but this man right here, Don Rose, could have easily had an interception. Just an excellent defensive play as he steps in front of Keith Baker. You know, on the previous series, they ran that same play and threw DiPietro out in the flat. This time they tried to get Baker, and Don Rose was ready for it. Maybe that's why he was the CFL Player of the Week last week.
Probably the reason. 2nd and 10, Hamilton. The ball at the Argo 49-yard line. The Cats lead it 3-1 late in the first quarter. Clemens throws. Baker makes the catch after bobbling it momentarily, but he should have the first down. He'll be very close to it.
Well, the Hamilton Ticats pick up the blitz. As you see Mark Braganola picking up Zach Henderson coming on a safety blitz, but Keith Baker juggled his ball a little bit. He maybe was thinking Don Rose was on his back again, but he picks up the first down.
Rose and Aykroyd were there to make the stop, but it is another Hamilton first down with 1 minute and 50 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. A packed house at Ivor Wynn, and boy, are they vocal tonight. They're up for this one. So are the Ticats, obviously. They have 2 wins, 3 losses so far this season. Obie Graves, the ball carrier, and he hits off tackle to about the 34-yard line.
I don't know if this has anything to do with it, Pat, the exuberance of the fans that you were talking about, but for fans across the country, we should tell you that for the first time at Ivor Wynn Stadium, they are now selling beer. It has started in Ontario at 3 different locations for sporting events, Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, the CNE Exhibition Stadium, Toronto, and here. And the fans tell me their big complaint now is the lineups are so long they can't get near the place.
The gain was 4 yards. It is 2nd and 6 as the minute flag comes up. Clemens throws. It is picked off by Darrell Wilson. And they rule no interception. They rule that when Wilson went down, the ball came out.
Well, I hope we get a second look at that. It looked like a pretty good catch from here, but nevertheless, it just shows you what kind of ball hawks those Toronto Argonauts have in their defensive secondary. Once again, Ron Johnson high in the air, but JoJo Heath in with the tackle. Now Rocky, that's true, definitely a good call by the officials. When DiPietro tackled Darrell Wilson, the ball did come loose.
So the Ticats will try their second field goal of the ball game. Quarterback Tom Clements will spot it at the 41.5-yard line. Ruoff is good again. And so with just 34 seconds left to play in the opening quarter, the Ticats have extended their lead 6-1, and it's interesting to note that Hamilton was a 4-point favorite, according to the odds makers, coming into this ball game, and many people couldn't figure that out. But they're ahead right now by 5.
Well, this is not the same Hamilton club that fans saw play against the Montreal Concord. I don't think there is any doubt that when they play the Argos, there is just that little added incentive. And when they play in their home park, like most clubs, they just play a little tougher. Well, maybe tougher than most clubs in their home park. There are a few, however, like Saskatchewan, and you can name 2 or 3 others that are as tough. But this is certainly one of the hard spots to come into.
You're absolutely correct, Bill, as Conrad Holloway brings that Argo offense out. And the pass was very nearly picked off by David Shaw as he stepped in front of the newcomer to the Toronto lineup, number 15, Scott McGee.
Well, David Shaw, the 8-year veteran, in bump and run coverage on the newcomer Scott McGee, and he does an excellent job coverage here. He should have really had the interception. Couldn't come up with it, but he's certainly been the best defensive back the Ticats have had over the years.
That was only the second incompletion for Conrad Holloway. He has thrown 6, completed 4 for 60 yards so far in this first quarter. This should be the final play of the opening 15 minutes. Holloway throws it in the middle to his fullback, Bob Blunt. But what an open field tackle by Howard Fields. Fields comes up with the big play to stop the Argonaut fullback, and they'll be punting when we come back at the end of the first quarter of play. It is Hamilton 6, Toronto 1. We'll return with the second quarter in just a moment. Ticat fan in Hamilton right now. They lead it 6-1, and the Argos are forced to punt as we open the second quarter of play. But now Zenon Andrusichin will have the wind at his back as David Shaw, 37, and Howard Fields, 16, await deep. And it's a beauty. Shaw takes it at his 17-yard line. And then is forced out as he gets to about the 24. So the Ticats will be starting with their worst field position of the ball game. But the Ticats have moved the ball effectively.
Well, they certainly have, Pat. You know, as we said, that was what Tom Clements felt was the key to the game tonight, getting off to a good start. And although they haven't put it in the end zone for the touchdown yet, they certainly have moved the ball well and picked up 6 points.
The fleet-footed Johnson, number 73, is flanked to the bottom of your screen. As they give to Mark Bragignola back in the game, and Bragignola reaches for the 30-yard line before Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, and Leon Lescavage, 64, make the stop.
Well, Toronto once again this week going with a 4-man defensive line, and very difficult for the Hamilton Ticats to run the football against this, and especially with John Pointer and Jeff Gabrielson in behind at the linebacking spots. They're 2 excellent linebackers.
The gain was 5. It is 2nd and 5. Ticats at their 29-yard line. Clemens' pass is complete to Baker. Now, what position on the field will they give him? They give him the 35-yard line, and that'll be enough for the first down. You know, you played with Tommy Clements. He really is a quiet, subdued, very confident quarterback.
Well, he really is. It's very difficult to read Tom if you're up 40 points or down 40 points. He always has his composure, and he's looked good so far this evening.
First down, Ticats from their 35. Obi Graves on the draw. Graves gets to about the 37 or 38-yard line. Jeff Gabrielson again, the middle linebacker, and Steve Aykroyd, number 26, were there. So the gain is a couple. It is 2nd and 8. If you've just joined us, it is 6-1. Hamilton over Toronto. We are just underway here in the second quarter of play. The Argos took the opening kickoff and marched all the way downfield, but Andrusichin was wide on his field goal try. Since then, Bernie Ruoff has been good on 2 field goal tries for the Ticats. Baker makes the catch. But he does not get to the 45-yard line, and he had to reach that point for the first down. Leo Gray, number 28, was there to make the stop along with Darrell Wilson.
Well, that's a tall order, stopping Keith Baker in the open field. As we hear the crowd in the background wanting the Ticats to go for it, but here we see Baker making the catch, and actually it's number 31, Zach Henderson, who does an excellent open field tackling job there, holding Baker short of that first down.
Well, they're about a full yard away from the first down. You know, you talked to Zach Henderson before this ball game on camera. To me, he's been the outstanding defensive player in the CFL in the first 5 weeks of the season.
Well, he certainly has. Every game I've seen him play, he's hit every receiver in sight. And I know I talked to Joey Walters after the Saskatchewan game, and Joey said he's never been hit that hard in his whole career than when he was hit by Zach Anderson 3 or 4 times.
All right, 3rd and a yard. Hamilton. Ball at their 44-yard line. All right, they gave it to Mark Bragignola. Let's see where he got. If he got to the 45, he's got the first down, and that's the signal from referee Lauren Woods.
Well, you know, under normal circumstances, I would have said that was a safe gamble. But, you know, last week against Montreal, they turned the ball over twice on downs. But nevertheless, they did pick up that first down.
So from their 45-yard line, the Ticats begin again. Clemens throws. Baker could not make the catch. The ball was there.
Well, it was there, and Tommy sure took a good shot from number 64, Leon Leskavich, as we see on the replay here. You just wonder. I know that Clements' line hasn't given him that much protection this year, but you wonder how long he can take this kind of punishment.
There's the penalty call. So the Argos accept the penalty. Make it 1st and 20. Ticats back at their 35-yard line. We've got 10 minutes, 50 seconds left to play in the second quarter of a game that is rolling right along. Ticats out in front, 6-1, with a first down and 20 from their 35-yard line. The screen is set up, but Obi Graves could not make the catch. And then a diving Jeff Gabrielson could not bring it in either. Gabrielson, the ex-Montreal Alouette of a year ago, feels that he should have made the interception. Tommy Clemens, strangely enough, coming into this ball game as we see him set up for the screen, had completed 63.7% of his passes, yet had only 5 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
Well, experts say that your interceptions and touchdown ratio should be even, and in this case, certainly Tommy's interceptions are far too high.
This is Obi Graves. And the Ticats play it conservatively, hoping to catch the Argos napping. They do not. Graves gains just 5 yards, so on 3rd and 15, Bernie Ruoff will be in for his first punt of the ball game.
Well, you have to give credit to that Argonaut defense. As we talked about at the beginning of the show, they have just played 3 Super Bowl games in a row, and they're playing very well this evening as well. They haven't given up the big play, and that's what their defense is predicated on.
JoJo Heath, number 24, Jan Carinci, number 27, back to receive this punt from Bernie Ruoff. He's punting into the wind and gets a good one away. This will be Carinci from his 17-yard line. A flag comes down as Carinci crosses the 25 to about the 27. And normally that means an infraction on the return team, probably blocking below the waist. We'll find out when we come back. Because right now the Ticats have a 6-1 lead, and we will be back in just a moment. Bernie Ruoff, plus the penalty for blocking below the waist, and the Argos are hemmed in at their 12-yard line. To eat it. He got back to the line of scrimmage, but no further. Tremendous coverage by the secondary of the Hamilton Ticats. There was just nobody for Holloway to throw the ball to.
Well, you certainly called it, Pat. Leroy Paul did an excellent job on Terry Greer, as well as the rest of the secondary, and they just forced Conrad Holloway to try and run the football. So we see newcomer Earl Wilson on the bench. He's playing for the injured Fred Norgren. But the Ticat secondary, I would consider them one of the better secondaries in the CFL.
Wilson had a good game against the Eskimos last week, as all of the Argos did, obviously, because they won the ball game. It is 2nd and 10 Argos from their 12. Holloway throws in the middle. And Minter was not able to hang on. The ball hit him right in the hands. Conrad had a lot of mustard on that one. He really drilled it in there, and Minter was not able to squeeze it.
Well, he certainly did, and had Minter been able to hang on to that ball, he was gone, because there was man-to-man coverage, and there was nobody after Jeff Blanchard, as we see here. Minter just can't squeeze it, but there was nobody behind him, and he had clear sailing.
So Zenon Andrusician will be punting again with 8 minutes, 30 seconds left to play in this second quarter. Hamilton out in front, 6-1. And the Ticats should enjoy pretty good field position. Not a good kick by the Big C. However, Fields allows it to bounce and takes it at his 48-yard line. Gets to about the 53, no further. And so when we come back, that's where the Ticats will put it into play as they lead the Toronto Argonauts 6-1, and we will be back in just a moment.
I'm Johnny Bench. This is Krylon Spray Paint, the other leading national brand. And here comes my fast pitch, so watch close. Krylon Special Formula goes on smooth, just like a professional finish. And just 12 minutes later, it's dry to the touch. No runs, no drips, no errors. The other brand's still tacky after 1 hour. Let's see it again. Krylon dry after 12 minutes. Other brand still tacky after 1 hour. Did you catch that? Krylon, for a smooth, fast professional finish.
Off the white-bellied jet that lands me to a hotel that understands me. I've got business and I'm on the road again. Feeling the pressure mounting on me, counting the people counting on me. Competition like I can't remember when. And you can reach me at the Hilton. Just call me at the Hilton, and we'll get down to your business right away.
When American business hits the road, American business stops at Hilton, America's business address.
I've got Martin Cox with me. First of all, Martin, congratulations. Just had your first child.
Yes, sir. We just had a little girl about a week and a half ago. We named her Naomi, and she's doing just fine.
Great. Now, I'd like to ask you, you were injured in the last game, and it was just the last day or two before they decided you wouldn't play. But is Hamilton showing you anything different tonight?
Well, I think that Hamilton's really fired up, and they're at home, and they're always tough at home. And I think it's just a matter of us trying to get our act together.
Thanks, Martin.
Okay.
The Ticats begin from their 54-yard line. Swing pass goes out to Mark Bragagnola. And Bragagnola has a first down as he crosses into Toronto territory at the 43-yard line. Don Rose made the tackle.
Well, you talk about helping your running mate out as Bragagnola took that swing pass. Obie Graves threw him an excellent block on Leo Gray to spring him for that extra yardage and the first down. So you see at the bottom of your screen here, watch Obie Graves on Leo Gray. Good block.
First down, Ticats. The ball at the Toronto 43-yard line. The draw to Obie Graves. And Graves is inside the 40 to about the 38. He'll have close to 5 yards. Clemens trying to mix it up. A little run, a little pass. Bud Riley. Let's not kid anybody. He's in a tough position right now. The owner, Harold Ballard, who's never reluctant to say a whole lot of things, came out this week and said he wasn't satisfied with the job that the coaching staff was doing. This is a big game for Bud. They are supposed to be walk-away leaders of the Eastern Conference. If they lose this game, they are 5 points behind Toronto. If they win, they're just a point back. Over the middle, the pass intended for Stapler, no call. Fans thought that Darrell Wilson was all over his back, but the flag does not come down, and so we'll see Bernie Ruoff again.
Well, once again, the Toronto Argonauts secondary comes up with a big play. Zach Henderson on the blitz, man-to-man coverage, and number 13, Darrell Wilson, does a good job as the ball really was maybe thrown a little high for Stapler to bring in.
Ruoff's field goal try will come from the 46-yard line. He's been good on 2 of 2 so far tonight. This one is wide. Zach Henderson, 10 yards deep in the end zone, goes down on one knee, and the Ticats get another point and up their margin to 7-1.
Now, what do you think Bernie Ruoff does for an outside occupation from football?
I'll guarantee it's something different. What is it?
Bernie has a kennel just outside of Hamilton, and he raises and breeds Russian wolfhounds, if you can believe that.
Well, Bernie marches to his own drummer. There's no question about that.
Well, I think, well, I shouldn't say all kickers, but some of the kickers in the league are a little different, as we see.
There's hilarious Harold.
And Joe Zuger alongside. Harold looks a little concerned here. Ticats only leading 7-1 at this point.
On the wide field goal try, the Argos take over at their 38-yard line with a first down. Holloway throws it. It's picked off by John Priestner, and then he dropped the ball. Priestner had it in his hands and couldn't squeeze it. That's about 3 or 4 interceptions tonight that had been dropped.
Well, it really was, and one of the few times that you'll see the Hamilton Tiger Cats in zone coverage. Priestner just a deep drop and reads the pattern, and really, he's a frustrated middle linebacker because he knows he should have had that interception.
John, of course, one of a few Canadians who have gone from college ball to the National Football League from the University of Western Ontario. He went to Baltimore. Now he's back with the Ticats as Holloway on 2nd and 10 throws. He's got Minter wide open. The Boise State All-American Cedric Minter is inside the Hamilton 20-yard line. Finally tackled by Ben Zambiazzi, but he gains 53 yards.
Well, a mix-up in the Hamilton Ticat secondary is looks like Carm Carteri should have had Cedric Minter in there, but that's the beauty of that run-and-shoot offense. You isolate all your receivers across the field one-on-one, and this time Minter was the winner as he's deep downfield, and the Argos are on the move.
And the Argos with a big following here, about 5,000 to 10,000 fans cheering on the double blue. They trailed 7-1. The draw to Bronk was read perfectly by Jim Muller. He was in first. Then Priestner and everybody else was there to follow.
Well, Pat, it certainly is an exciting game. Not a lot of points have been scored yet, but both teams are certainly moving up and down the field.
You could just feel the tension in the air, though. These Hamilton fans trying to outdo the thousands of Toronto fans that are here, and this place is bedlam. Holloway over the middle for Minter again. No good. Alex Ponton brought out a very important point, though. Minter has dropped a couple of passes, but he's looking back into the sun at this time of the night. The sun setting in the west is right in Minter's eyes.
Let me tell you, Pat, you're absolutely right. That sun is very low, and that is when it's really the worst. About 5 more minutes and it'll be gone. And by the way, we have got just an ideal night for this game and practically no wind. The flags are barely moving. It has been just a great, great night for this game.
The field goal try by Zenon Andruseshin will come from the 27-yard line. And it is good. And so, with 3 minutes and 31 seconds left to play in the first half, the score is Hamilton 7, Toronto 4. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, once again, we get a chance to see that great reception by Cedric Minter as he outruns the Hamilton secondary and all over the field, but the Toronto Argonauts could only come out of that with 3 points.
So now the Ticats. The pass is complete to Baker. And Baker has a first down and more as he shows you the determination that the Ticats have displayed all game. Finally brought down by Leo Gray, just a little hitch pass. Tommy took 1 step back, fired it to his wide receiver, and Baker did most of it on his own.
Well, from ground level, just a quick screen to the wide receiver, Keith Baker. And he gets Marv Alamang out in front and number 54, Ross Francis. And I'll tell you, he's an exciting player to watch. Baker, he makes things happen. And he, at any time when he gets his hands on that football, he can go all the way.
Well, the gain was 18 yards. And when we come back, the Ticats will have a first down, leading it 7-4. And we'll be back in just a moment.
What's more natural natural then, natural.
The Hamilton Ticats lead it 7-4. They have a first down at their 53-yard line. This is the most enthusiastic Hamilton crowd I have seen in years. The Ticats are off to a dismal start by their standards, 2-3. But this is a key game for them. The fans know it, and so does that Hamilton offense. Clemens swings it out to Mark Bragagnola. And Bragagnola will be close to a first down. He'll probably gain about 9 yards. A lot of folks in on the tackle. John Pointer, Jeff Gabrielson, Steve Aykroyd. And now we're under 3 minutes. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left to play in this second quarter. Boy, it has moved right along. If it keeps going at this pace, we'll have the longest post-game show in the history of television. We'll interview ushers, the guy who's operating the crane, everybody.
All we'll need is Harold Ballard.
Second down, a yard to go. Hamilton, the ball at the Toronto 48-yard line. Argos appeared to be offside, but I don't see any flags. Well, they're going to measure for this one. I'd like to see that one back because it sure looked like the Argos moved, but it may have been a linebacker who stopped right at the line of scrimmage. And as you see, the Ticats are still a half-yard short.
Well, you know, the Ticats have just had an awful time picking up those second and short, third and short, as we see. Looked like a little movement there by...
Well, Pointer was definitely at least a foot offside.
Certainly did.
All right, a big play now for both the Ticats and the Argos. Third down. I say Tommy keeps it himself. He does, and he's got the first down. Tommy Clemens gives the Ticats the first down. I could tell the way he walked up to the line of scrimmage.
That's a nice call there, Coach.
Thank you, thank you.
Good. You know, as we look back at the end of the game to our Panasonic play of the game, we'll certainly have to consider that long pass reception by Cedric Minter. Although they didn't cash in on a major score, he certainly set up a much-needed 3 points at the time, so possibly that could be our Panasonic play of the game.
Or maybe the play that's coming up right now, because the Ticats have a first down at the Toronto 46-yard line. 1:55 left to play in the first half. Clemens fakes the draw, and now he's going deep for Baker, who makes the catch down to the 9-yard line. What a throw, what a catch.
Well, as I said before, Keith Baker is the big play man of the Hamilton Ticat offense, and Tommy Clemens had been throwing those short out patterns. This time it was an out and up, and Baker just does an excellent job adjusting to the football, taking it all the way down to the 9-yard line.
6 catches for Keith Baker tonight, 86 yards. First and touchdown to go, Ticats at the Toronto 9-yard line. The draw to Obi Graves, and the Argos react well to it. He gets maybe a couple of yards, but he was wrapped up early by Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, the linebacker.
Well,
Gabrielson from Ripon College, acquired from Montreal, and what a job he's done since coming to Toronto.
I'm a little surprised at Tommy running the ball at this situation. He's been successful so far this evening throwing it, and really it seems like you're wasting a play almost down here running it.
Ball at the 7-yard line. Clemens fires it out to Graves. Touchdown! Obi Graves comes back to his old stomping grounds and scores the first touchdown of this ball game.
And you can hear the crowd. They're calling Obi, Obi. They really like Obi Graves here at Hamilton, and they're glad to have him back. "75 yards, that touchdown march.
as Bernie Ruoff will try to make it a 14-4 ball game, and he does.
This is an interesting touchdown pass to Obie Graves. If we can see, number 23, Rocky DiPietro, runs into Obie Graves' man, Leo Gray, trying to cover him. And Obie knows what to do with that ball when he gets it. He's into the end zone for Hamilton's first touchdown of the evening. Once again, from the ground level camera, Tom Clements to Obie Graves. We see Rocky DiPietro running into Leo Gray, and this enabled Graves to get in for the score.
Well, I tell you, the crowd noise is just deafening, though. This Ivor Wynne Stadium is just alive with enthusiasm by this packed house here tonight.
And you know, Pat, that's worth points to the home team. I can remember playing in the Eastern Final here 2 years ago as a player, and we had a full house, and it was just a tremendous advantage for us. They were just cheering like they are tonight, and it certainly gives the team a lift.
Talking to defensive coordinator Dale Lindsay prior to the start of this game, he said, I just hope he is with the Toronto Argonauts. He said, I hope we can reach the level of intensity we had against Edmonton, but I don't know if we can. John Lowe, number 23, starts from his 5-yard line. And Lowe gets over the 20 to about the 22. And so with 50 seconds left to play, we'll see if the Argos play it conservatively, or do they try to get on the board before halftime.
Well, you know, when we consider our Carling O'Keefe offensive and defensive game stars, we certainly have to look to Keith Baker. Already in the first half, he has 6 receptions, and his last long reception was a direct lead into Obie Graves' touchdown.
Clemens has been good on 13 of 17 passes tonight as Conrad Holloway puts it up. He's looking for Paul Pearson. Shaw makes the interception out of bounds. Excuse me, it was Leroy Paul, 27, not 37.
Good coverage by Leroy Paul. He had a back injury and missed a lot of games late in the year last season, but he's back, as you see, from Texas Southern, and he's having an excellent season so far. Excellent cornerback, great speed and good hands. You know, if he could have held on to the ball in the early part of the last season, he would have led the league in interceptions easily.
Well, the Ticat defense has played well all season long. The offense has been their problem, but right now they've got it on track. Holloway in a lot of trouble again, and he goes down back to the 21-yard line. And credit the sack to Grover Covington, number 66. He had 5 sacks coming into this ball game, the leader on that Hamilton defensive unit, and he gets another.
Well, Grover Covington came to the Ticats last year from the Montreal Alouettes, and he does a good job running down Conrad Holloway from behind, and the Ticats still have a chance to put some more points on the board here.
33 seconds and the clock is moving, left to play. And now we've got a timeout call. Let's see if the Ticats are calling a timeout. They are. Well, good move on their part.
Well, it was a good move, but Pat, when the referee signaled play in, there was 38 seconds left on the clock, and really they've wasted 6 precious seconds.
And that is certainly time enough for one play at least.
I don't know if it's their fault necessarily, though, Leaf, for the simple reason they were yelling on the bench here, time, and several of the players in the field were giving the time signal. But obviously the right man wasn't giving the signal to the referee, and that is the reason that they wasted the 6 or 7 seconds you're talking about.
That's absolutely correct, Bill. Only the acting captain on the field at that particular time can signal and give the referee the time and count, as we see Bud Riley on the sidelines. But any other player who signals timeout, the referee absolutely will ignore it.
You know, Bud Riley is another low-key guy. I'm sure that's why he and Clemens have such a good rapport. But I think Bud has done a good job. I mean, he did an excellent job in Winnipeg. He got the axe, but boy, I'll tell you, you know, coaches never control their own destiny. And one of the finest football games I ever saw in this league, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the BC Lions in a playoff game in BC that was in the rain. It was shortly after that Bud was fired, but I thought it was a bad rap. Anyway, on 3rd and 12, Andrew Sisson stands at his 5-yard line to punt. This is Shaw from his 48-yard line, dropped immediately, but a flag comes down. No yards will be the call against Don Rose, who was very quickly downfield. So the Ticats will have 24 seconds plus the ball inside Toronto territory.
No yards. Toronto, number 6.
Well, you heard referee Lauren Woods with the no yards penalty against Don Rose. The Ticats have first down at the Toronto 48-yard line.
You know, that's a pretty costly penalty with only 24 seconds to go, because now Hamilton really has a legitimate shot of getting at least a field goal.
Ticats 14, Toronto 4. 24 seconds left to play in the first half. The draw to Mark Ragignola. And he gets about 4 yards to the 44-yard line. Leon Lescavage and Earl Wilson, numbers 64 and 58 respectively. The Ticats will not huddle. Gain was actually closer to 5 yards, make it 2nd and 5. Clemens throws the out. The catch is made by Keith Baker, but he may have stepped out a yard short. Let's see now. The ball is spotted at about the 38-yard line. He had to get to the 37. With 10 seconds left, the Ticats send out Bernie Ruoff in the field goal unit.
Well, they've called for a measurement, but really it's of no consequence. As Pat mentioned, Bud Riley is not taking any chances with 10 seconds left. He sent his field goal team in.
Except that it is a first down. So now what happens? They've got 10 seconds. They could certainly throw a pass.
I don't think Bud Riley will take a chance with a 14-4 lead. I'm sure he'd just as soon settle for 3 points.
You're absolutely right. He's not even thinking about it. Arms folded. He's just looking out at this field goal attempt.
Well, there should be time for one more play after this one. I'd have thrown the pass. Ruoff's field goal is good. So the Ticats get the 3 points, but 5 seconds remain on the clock.
I'll tell you, Tom Clements is doing an excellent job holding for Bernie Ruoff, because he's getting not the greatest snaps from the backup center, Dave Graffey, but nevertheless he got it up on the tee, and that was an excellent kick by Bernie Ruoff.
It is Hamilton 17, Toronto 4, with time for one more play. And now the Argos are going to ask the Ticats to kick off. And of course it is Toronto's option. They could have taken the ball at the 35, but now they'll hope for a touchdown return. Ottawa had a punt return call back last night. There's a fellow, probably a graduate of Stelco U, Ticat fan. All of his life, you can see the intensity in his face. Argos with their kickoff return huddle. They'll have Mitter back there, and they'll have Terry Greer too, but chances are that Bernie Ruoff will kick it to John Lowe.
I have a feeling it won't even get that far.
Well, you're right. Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, picks it up and gets to the 50-yard line with 1 second left on the clock. So the Argos will put it into play at their 49-yard line. And what does Conridge do now? Throw it up for Terry Greer?
I certainly would. I'd line up all my quickest receivers to one side of the field and throw it as far as I can, and one of 3 things could happen: a completion, a touchdown, or possibly an interference call.
Or a pass interception and return for a touchdown the other way.
I guess that was the 4th I wasn't thinking about.
Well, they got the trips formation to the right. And it's a quick kick instead by Jan Carinci. And it's all onside. The Argos, Cedric Mitter touches the ball, but it bounces into Howard Fields' hands. And Fields is finally down at the 28-yard line. The Argos, of course, are saying that all 3 of those receivers on that side were onside. The official is saying that Carinci was behind them when he kicked the ball. They throw the no yards flag down. And when they get it sorted out, I suspect that we may have one more play left.
Well, I agree with the official's interpretation there. As we see Dave Shaw, I think he's going to decline the penalty, but...
No yards. Toronto number 20 declined.
So the Ticats decline the penalty, and the half comes to an end with Hamilton out in front, 17-4.
And they head off the field to the cheers of this raucous crowd, and a very happy one because, of course, the vast majority are Hamilton Ticat fans. But at least for another half, it continues to be the valley of death for the Argos, who have managed only 2 victories at Argonauts Stadium in the last 12 years, believe it or not. So at the end of the second quarter, the score is Hamilton 17, Toronto 4. This is CTV's Friday Night Football. We'll continue with halftime in a moment.
The Ticats out in front of the Toronto Argonauts, 17-4. But it's nice to have competitive football in the Eastern Conference once again. The Ticats 2-3 coming in. The Argos 3-1-1. And despite the fact we haven't had that many touchdowns, there have been some good plays lately.
Well, there certainly have, Pat. In the first half, both teams have moved the ball well up and down the field. Not really a lot of scoring, but the Toronto Argonauts have been exciting. Cedric Minder's had an excellent first half, and as we'll see in our first highlight, he's going to come out of the backfield, and Conrad Holloway's been cool all evening as he steps out of the pocket here and finds Minter. Now, he was isolated one-on-one on Carm Carteri, and that's a job in itself. As you see, Minter getting in behind. He goes down 53 yards, but I think he ran about 110 on this play. But give the Ticat defense credit. They hustled and they got back and they finally stopped him. But this led to a field goal and certainly one of the better Toronto offensive plays of the first half.
Well, the Argos took the ball from the opening kickoff, moved to 3 back-to-back first downs, and only ended up with a single point. And that seemed to give the Ticats the needed impetus they needed to get on the scoreboard. They took the lead at 3-1, and they never looked back.
Well, they certainly did. And I think Tommy Clements and the entire offense has had a good first half, especially number 1, Keith Baker. He's a game breaker, a really exciting player. And here late in the second quarter, he hauls in this pass down the sidelines for 38 yards in behind cornerback Don Rose, and this sets up the first Ticat touchdown of the ball game. As we see Tom Clements back to pass, and he'll hit Obi Graves sneaking out of the backfield. Looks like a bit of a screen from Rocky DiPietro. Nevertheless, Obi knows what to do with that ball, and he's into the end zone for the first Hamilton Ticat touchdown.
All right, very briefly, what do the Argos have to do now to get back into this ball game?
Well, I think quite simply do what they've been doing in the first half. They've been successful. They've moved the football. I think the only difference is Hamilton's taking advantage and score points. Toronto just has to score a few more field goals and touchdowns.
It's funny, the Argos went to Terry Greer on a number of occasions against Edmonton. It seems like the Hamilton defensive unit has shut him down.
Well, they really have, and all the credit must go to cornerbacks David Shaw and Leroy Paul. They've come up and played bump and run on Terry Greer, which is a tough job in itself, and they've done an excellent job. They've been all over him, and this has forced Holloway to throw the ball away a few times.
One thing you have to say about the Toronto Argonauts in 1982, they are not a club that will fold up their tent and go home. They'll be back sometime in this ball game. And we're going to be back because this is CTV's Friday Night Football. We'll have the second half in just a moment.
I've got Doug Rettel with me. Doug's the offensive guard and also center, and he snaps in the third down. But as you can see, Doug's out with a knee operation that took place just a week or so ago and really missed in that lineup. Doug, what is it, though? You played for the Argos before you came to the Ticats. What is it that kills the Argos in this stadium every time?
I tell you what, when I've been with the Argos, you have a real low, it's almost a scary feeling before the game. There's a certain history behind the Hamilton Ticats of being the beast of the East. And I don't know whether that's just fiction or fate or what, but the opposing teams that come in here, especially Argonauts, you just feel it. You feel...
Well, how come Hamilton is improved to such a degree after they came up with that poor game against Montreal Concord?
You need a couple bad games to get you back on the road. I'd rather see... I really don't have any explanation. Some of the guys, they just said, there's just too many breakdowns. There's not one guy you can point the finger on. We're all just making too many breakdowns. But what we got to get back now is more intensity. And I think that's what you're seeing tonight. More intensity on the offensive line and on the defense.
There was a word that there was a little bit of bickering going on amongst the Hamilton Ticat players. Is that correct?
I've been in the hospital for 2 weeks, so
all right.
I really don't know, Bill. That's right. Unfair.
Doug, we hope you get back in a hurry.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Doug Rettel, who's on the injury list for the Hamilton Ticats, They're ready for the kickoff, Pat, so back up to you and Lee.
Thank you, Bill. You see the statistical story of that first half. Tommy Clements and that Hamilton offense that has moved the ball well in all their games, but haven't been able to put it into the end zone. Finally did in that second quarter, and as a result, they have a 17-4 lead, and you see they certainly lead the statistical story as well. 212 to 123 in total yards. Toronto to kickoff. Zenon Andrusession boots it deep. This is Steve Stapler from his 9-yard line. The flag is down back at the original point of the kickoff. The Argos may have been offside, and they also may be guilty of a face mask on the tackle. Let's wait and see. Stapler returned the ball to about the 35. Referee Lauren Woods from Ottawa huddling with his staff, now talking it over with Zach Henderson.
Well, just as the first half ended on a penalty, so this second half is opening with a couple of penalties. It looks slow.
Holding. Hamilton 75.
Well, all I heard was a holding violation, but they certainly missed a face masking infraction here. It looks like number 13, Darrell Wilson, gets a hold of Steve Stapler's face mask, but he must have had him by the shoulder pad.
They called holding against Jeff Blanchard, so the Ticats start at their 21-yard line. Argos are offside as the toss goes to Obie Graves, and Graves crosses the 25 to 26-yard line. They blew the whistle before Graves went down, and I think they wanted to stop the play immediately.
Toronto 79. First down repeated.
Bud Riley watches as his Ticats accept the offside penalty against number 79, the right defensive end, Rusty Olson. So it'll be 1st and 5 Ticats from their 26-yard line as we start this third quarter. Hamilton out in front 17-4. Clemens puts it up. The hit is made on Johnson the moment that he caught the ball by JoJo Heath, but he'll have a first down. Well, they say it's incomplete. That's what it is. It is 2nd and 5. The din of the crowd is so loud that Leaf is sitting right beside me. I can barely hear him. Clements going deep for Stapler. He makes the catch at the Toronto 40. He had JoJo Heath turned around.
Into the ball game, and Tommy Clements just rolled out and outran the rush as he hit Steve Stapler. Watch him high in the air over JoJo Heath. Heath had trouble locating the football, but Steve Stapler comes up with a big play.
First down, Ticats at the Toronto 39. Mark Bragignola, the ball carrier, gets a couple of yards, not much more. Jeff Gabrielson wrote him down at that point. Now I see why I couldn't hear you, because your mic wasn't working.
We had little microphone problems here, but we seem to be back in action now. I have to be very impressed with the way the Ticats have come out and started this second half. Tom Clements rolling out, evading that rush, and hitting Stapler for the big gain. It's the type of play that the Ticat offense needs.
The gain by Bragignola was 2 yards. It is 2nd and 8. Clemens throws. The pass is dropped by Obie Graves.
Well, strictly concentration there as Obie Graves just was thinking more running downfield than catching the football as he takes his eyes off the ball here.
Strangely enough, the #1 pass receiver in the entire CFL, Rocky DiPietro, has caught but one pass tonight. As Bernie Ruoff will be on to try his 5th field goal. He's been good on 3 of 4. This one will come from the 45-yard line. And it is good. What a night for Bernie Ruoff. And with 12 minutes and 12 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter, the Hamilton Ticats have jumped out in front of Toronto, 20-4. We'll be back in just a moment.
Why did you do that? Well, I felt that they had their backs up against the wall and really needed this victory, possibly a little more than the Toronto Argonauts did, and so far they've made me look like a good prophet.
Holloway's pass is underthrown, looking for Terry Greer.
You know, one thing we must mention about the Ticats, a team that's struggling 2-3 and were expected to run away with the Eastern Conference, it was important to go into the locker room at halftime with a lead, and as equally as important as that is to come out in the second half and strike first, and they certainly did with an impressive march, although they didn't get in for the major score. Bernie Ruoff hit the field goal, and they drew first blood in that second half.
Conrad Holloway was good on 5 of 7 in the first quarter, 1 of 5 in the second. Now he's 0 for 1 in the third. Now he sets up the screen to his fullback, Bob Bronk. Bronk, with a lot of room, gets the first down as he gets to the Argonaut 53-yard line. An injured Hamilton Ticat on the field. And when Bronk runs, it's not surprising that there are opposition players down. That looks like Ben Zambiazzi.
It certainly is, and Ray Jones out having a look at him. Let's hope it's maybe just a wind knocked out of him. You know, Ray Jones, the Ticat trainer at one time, was the head trainer for Canada's national basketball team.
Well, we've talked about Bob Bronk before. He's a 6-footer, goes 215 pounds. And let's watch him now, because I think this guy's going to be a star in this league.
Well, you know, to run a successful screen, your offensive linemen have to be actors. And this time, they let the Hamilton defensive line feel that they had beaten their man and in on Holloway. And then he just dumped it off to Bob Bronk. And a very well executed screenplay by the Argonauts. I was saying, Ray Jones, one of the best trainers in the business. You know, people don't realize how important the trainer is to the ball club. The players really have to have confidence in the guy that's bringing them through their injuries. And the players I know in Hamilton certainly have full confidence in Ray Jones, and when he tells them they're healthy and ready to go, they can be assured that they are.
Well, that first down by Bob Bronk was only the 6th first down of the ball game for the Argos. The Ticats have 14. And as spotter Alex Ponton points out, it looks like a rib problem with Ben. Let's take a look at 31 here.
Get a chance. It looks like offensive tackle number 63, John Malinowski, just accidentally kicks Zambiazzi, but he's up off the ground and looks like he's better. Let's go down to Bill Stevenson.
Keith Baker, a man who's been doing a great job in that offense. What is it that's making it work so well, Keith?
Well, as you can see, we're working both inside and out, and we're just spreading the defense pretty wide and taking what they're supposed to give us, and it's just working out fine so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Holloway's pass is complete to Pearson, and he'll have another first down. Hauled down by Howard Fields, number 16. Now it appears as though they're going to mark it just about a yard short. Unless they bring the chains out, we're going to see now. The Argos need some points right now. They've got to get some points off this drive in order to hang in this football game. They trail 20-4.
Well, all year I've been waiting for that second and short situation for someone to go to the play-action pass, and I'm not sure if we'll see it here, but one of these days one of the teams are going to do it for me.
I don't think you're going to see it here because the give is to Cedric Mitter, and he busts through there. Mitter is all the way down to the 30-yard line. Joe Kuklo made the tackle for the Ticats, number 21.
Well, an excellent short yardage play as the right side of that Toronto offensive line with John Malinowski and Roland Mangold leading the play. Good block from his running mate, also number 34, Bob Bronk. But that's excellent execution on the running game on a second and short situation.
The gain was 18 yards. It is first down, Toronto at the Hamilton 31. Holloway to Greer, makes the catch. And he's inside the 20 to about the 19. Another Toronto first down. The first catch of the ball game for last Saturday's hero, Terry Greer.
Well, Conrad Holloway forced out of the pocket, and when this happens, all receivers are instructed to come and work back to the quarterback, and Terry Greer just does that. Was high in the air, and boy, he takes a good hit from Grover Covington.
First down, Argos. They trail 20-4. 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Ball at the Hamilton 19-yard line. Look out, Conrads. Bob Bronk. And Bronk will be very close to a first down. The rookie from Queens University has lots of power. Brought down by Gerald Best, 14, and Joe Kuklo, 21.
Well, does this ever remind me of the Conrad Holloway of old? Eyes in the back of his head as he sees and feels that rush coming on him. Just dumps the ball off to Bob Bronk. Gets some good blocking from number 69, Dan Ferroni, but really a bad play turns out into an excellent play for the Argonauts.
Argos, second and a yard to go. Give is to Minter. And Minter is upended short of the first down. On the previous short yardage situation, they went to the right side of the line. This time they came to the left, and the Ticats stuffed it.
Well, good surge by Grover Covington and Jim Mueller as they got in through that Toronto offensive line and just stacked that play up, and Minter had no place to go.
The Argos are going for it on third and a full yard. The ball at the 10-yard line. Minter again. He's got the first down, or does he? The placement of the ball is going to be all important. He appeared to have the first down. He was thrown back. First down, Toronto. Ooh, boy, it was close.
I tell you, that sure was. But you know, Pat, I like the style of Bob Obilovich. He knows he's down by 16 points, and really a field goal at this point is meaningless. He wants to get his offense back involved in the football game, and I think it was a great call, 3rd and 1 going for it.
It is now first and touchdown to go for Bob Obilovich's Toronto Argonauts.
You think he's breathing a sigh of relief there?
He will if they put it in the end zone. Bob Bronk. Touchdown, Bronk. We talked about the power of Bob Bronk, and you'll see it again.
There must have been a lot of fans make that trip over from Toronto, because they're certainly getting a lot of support. And watch the excellent move that Bob Bronk makes on number 14, Gerald Best. He stops Best in his tracks, and Bob Bronk will not be denied as he runs over Joe Kuklo and gets into the end zone for Toronto's first major of the evening.
Andrew Sission's point after is good. Hang on now, because we've got a football game going. This is a play we should take a look at one more time.
Well, the young rookie's second touchdown, and give him full marks, because he got that football and he certainly knew where the goal line was. But it's a good move on Gerald Best, and then he will not be denied.
This is the move I like here, where he just puts his head down and hammers his way across the goal line. And so now it's Hamilton 20. Andrew Sisson goes out of bounds, so the Ticats will ask him to do it again. You know, we were talking about how strong Bob Bronk is. This kid bench presses 375 pounds.
Well, I'll tell you, on that touchdown run, he bench pressed Joe Kuklo right into the end zone.
Conrad Holloway had certainly a diversified attack in that particular series. They marched 75 yards. Conrad was good on 5 of 6 in passing to 3 separate receivers. And because the kickoff went out of bounds, Andrew Sisson will do it 5 yards back.
Well, you know, Pat, this is the type of game that we did anticipate. And
illegal kickoff. Toronto 19.
We get the call from Lauren Woods, but we expected it to be a close ball game, and it's certainly livened up here in the third quarter.
Well, we mentioned at halftime, Bob Obilovich teams will not quit. He didn't quit as a player, and that's the one thing he demands. 100% effort. All coaches demand that. But Obi said, I'll make changes. This isn't a great football team. We've got to play with desire. Howard Fields from his 11-yard line. And Fields gets out over the 40 to about the 42. With an injured Toronto Argonaut down on the field. Let's go to Bill Stevenson.
All right, let's go with Bob Bronk. Bob, your second touchdown, and it was even nicer than the first one, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you very much. It was nice. I have to give all the glory to God, though. He's my strength on and off of the field. And
well, let me tell you, Bob, you ran extremely well with it. You don't only power run, but you show some extremely good running. I mean, you make some great moves, too.
Well, I don't know. When I see the end zone, I just want to get there, that's all.
You just have that desire to get over.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, in your college career, were you strictly a straight-ahead ball player, a straight-ahead fullback, or did you try to make some of the moves that you've been showing the pro fans?
A little of both, depending on who I was running against. If it was, a linebacker, I'd run straight ahead. If it was a DB, I'd try to dance a bit or put my head down and try to run over him.
How about coming into this second half after a first half in which you couldn't get going? What was the feeling coming out of that dressing room?
We knew we were sort of beating ourselves. We knew we could do a lot more things with the ball. We were sort of defeating ourselves. And we just felt confident we can do it, you know. We were beating ourselves, and they weren't taking anything away from us. So a lot of things were open, and now we're going to hopefully hit them.
So you think that you can now come back?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Well, Bob Bronk, our congratulations. By the way, you bench press a tremendous amount. Pat was just talking about, said he's going to have a contest with you. How many pounds is it?
Oh, 365 or so.
Is that right? How much weightlifting do you do?
I try to do a lot of powerlifting in the off-season, get in shape.
Once again, Bob Bronk, congratulations.
Thanks. I'd like to say hello to my parents in Winnipeg and my family, too.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Tony,
Pat.
Thank you, Bill. Tony Antunovic was the injured Toronto Argonaut player as the Ticats take over at their 43-yard line. First down, Hamilton leading 20-11. Toss goes to Obi Graves. And Graves was upended on an outstanding play by number 37, John Pointer, who just flew in there and upended him, grabbed him by the ankles, wouldn't let him go.
I have a chance to see Tony Antunovic on the bench there. He looks like he's hurt his knee, but as Pat mentioned, John Pointer just shoots the gap and makes a great play, stopping Obi Graves in the backfield.
2nd and 10, Hamilton. Baker makes the reception, takes the hit, hangs on, and will have a Hamilton first down at the Toronto 54. Don Rose gave him a pretty good belt, but Baker was not going to cough it up.
Well, Tommy Clements, and a good block by the rookie guard, Jeff Arp, here on defensive end Rick Moore to knock him down and give Tommy a good passing lane to throw through. And he finds Keith Baker on the sidelines, but he really does pay for that catch as Don Rose gives him a good knock.
The gain was 13 yards. It is first down, Hamilton. Keith Baker has caught 8 tonight. Clemens throws back into the middle to Graves. And Obi was trying to go so fast that he tripped himself up, but he probably has enough for the first down.
Pat, the report on Tony Antunovic is that he has got a bad left knee. Dr. Jackson is working on it at the present time, but he says he will be out, he thinks, for the rest of the ball game. And as you know, with knee injuries, they're never sure how severe they are until probably the next day after the swelling comes down. but the prognosis at this point is not good as he's out for the game.
Thank you, Bill. First down, Hamilton, the ball at the Toronto 42-yard line. Clements going deep for Ron Johnson. There was contact with JoJo Heath, but no flag came down.
Well, the fans are a little upset here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. They felt that JoJo Heath interfered with Ron Johnson. I know they certainly do collide. Looks like Heath took the worst of that, but the official said he has his right to his territory, and no flag was thrown.
So it'll be 2nd and 10, Ticats. The ball at the Toronto 42. The screen to Baker. Makes a good cut. And Baker gets down very close to the first down. Zach Henderson comes up with the ball, but he obviously stole it out of Baker's hands. Baker made a nice move to get inside.
Well, a quick screen. Baker back behind the line of scrimmage, waiting for his blocking to form. Marv Alamang out in front, and guard Jeff Arp. He's awfully close to that first down.
Inches to go. They signal it to Bud Riley, and the Ticats are going to go for it. They bring in Dave Graffey and also Jeff Blanchard. There's short yardage formation upcoming, 3rd and less than a yard. Four minutes, 15 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter in a game that is really moving along. Hamilton 20, Toronto 11. Big play right now. 3rd and inches. Clemens throws for Baker. He's got it for the first down. What a gutsy call. Oh.
I'm telling you, if Bud Riley didn't call that play from the bench, he probably had a heart attack when he saw Tommy roll out. But Tommy Clements, great play to his favorite receiver this evening, Keith Baker. And do you realize that's Baker's 10th catch already in this ball game, and we're just into the 3rd quarter.
I've never seen a quarterback who can roll to the left, who is a right-handed quarterback, and throw better on the run than Tom Clements.
Tom Clements is a tremendous athlete, good baseball player, basketball player. We haven't got him playing hockey yet, though.
Flags come down. Clemens puts it up looking for Stapler. He makes a circus attempt at the grab, but couldn't come down with it. Darrell Wilson was with him step for step. We mentioned there are flags down on the field.
Offside, Toronto 37.
John Pointer, the linebacker, was offside. It'll be 1st and 5, Hamilton.
You know, Pat, we've talked a lot about Tom Clements this evening, and a lot of people probably don't realize that in the offseason he attends law school. And how would you like to have your quarterback stand 2nd in his class at law school?
Nobody has ever said that Tommy was anything but a very smart guy. Graduate of the University of Notre Dame, went to Ottawa, and he and Conrad Holloway combined to win a Grey Cup, but really Tommy was number 1. And now with a 1st and 5, let's see what he does from the Toronto 18. Throws for DiPietro, too far. Leo Gray was covering the tremendous inside receiver of the Ticats.
You know, even though Rocky DiPietro is leading the league in receptions with 31, I think one of the surprising statistics is that he hasn't had a touchdown as yet. And maybe that's one of the reasons why the Ticat offense has had trouble getting going this year. We see some of the youngsters certainly enjoying the ball game tonight.
2nd and 5, Hamilton. Clemens puts it up for Baker. Touchdown, and a flag comes down. The touchdown will count. Interference to call against Don Rose.
came to Iberwin Stadium to see tonight. They came to see Tom Clements hook up with wide receiver Keith Baker. And what an outstanding move he put on Don Rose into the end zone for the touchdown. Threw the football into the crowd, but he doesn't care. It only cost him $50. But the Ticats coming through here in the third quarter. An excellent touchdown reception by Keith Baker.
And the point after by Bernie Ruoff is good. And so with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left to play, we'll take one more look at that touchdown strike.
Well, Keith Baker ran a stop, hitch, and go pattern. And even though Don Rose gets called for interference, great concentration on the football, and he's got the touchdown.
Well, as Iberwin Stadium explodes again, we'll tell you the score is Hamilton 27, Toronto 11. We'll be back in just a moment. Kickoff is grabbed by John Lowe at his own 13-yard line. And Lowe gets out close to the 30-yard line, and now a flag comes down. It was thrown by referee Lauren Woods, who detected a little bit of rough stuff going on. And while they sort this out, I'll tell you that Tommy Clements has been good on 20 of 28 passes tonight for 293 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Major foul. Toronto 76, unnecessary roughness.
Rick Moore, last week's outstanding lineman in the CFL, picks up the major foul, and it pushes the Argos back to their 15-yard line.
Well, that excellent TD reception by Keith Baker, we'll certainly have to look at that as well for our Panasonic play of the game. And we see Bob Obilovich on the sidelines, and he certainly has to be concerned. He finds his club now trailing by 16 points, but there's still a lot of time left.
2:20 left in this third quarter. The Argos starting in a hole. Cedric Minner. And Minner explodes out over the 20 to about the 21. He'll have a gain of 6. John Priestner, number 36, the linebacker, made the stop. Well, the Argos obviously need a touchdown to get back into this ball game, and they're going to have to do it quickly because they're going against the outstanding defensive unit in the Eastern Conference in the Hamilton Ticats. Holloway throws underneath to Pearson, but he couldn't hang on. Scott McGee, who is replacing Martin Cox as one of the wide receivers in that Toronto alignment, has not been a factor tonight. Through no fault of his own, they've only thrown the ball at him once.
I was just going to mention that as we see Paul Pearson leaving the field, but really a good defensive series for the Ticats, and they should get the ball back in excellent field position. You know, Bud Riley told me earlier today that he realizes playing the amount of man-to-man coverage that they do, they won't get the big totals and interceptions, but what he hopes for from that type of defense is to create good field position, and we see an example of that right now.
Good point. Andrew Session punting on 3rd and 5. Fields moves up to his, or David Shaw moves up to his own 54. And just gets to the 54 and no further because down very quickly was number 30, Jeff Townsend. Had he been able to get by Townsend, there was an open sideline for him.
Certainly was a lot of room. Really a good saving tackle by young Jeff Townsend.
The wind has picked up slightly in intensity. That punt by Andrew Sisson into the wind was good for just 35 yards, but there was no return. And the minute flag is now up with 55 seconds left to play in this third quarter. The draw to Mark Bragignolo, and Bragignolo gets to midfield. No further. It'll be a pickup of 2. Earl Wilson, number 58, a newcomer from the University of Kentucky, playing at that defensive tackle spot, made the stop.
Well, the Ticats really haven't had much of a running game tonight. I'd be interested to find out from statistician Bob Layden how many yards they do have. But certainly Tom Clements has strictly relied on the pass.
28 yards rushing is all the Ticats have been able to pick up. But they've done it through the air. The screen to Johnson. And Johnson is going to go the distance. Touchdown, Hamilton.
Ticat fans more excited than this is Ron Johnson on the quick screen. A great block from number 59, Ed Fulton, and it's simply a foot race between Johnson and Zach Henderson. Johnson wins the battle, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. But this Hamilton Ticat crowd, I haven't heard them this vocal in years.
The 5th touchdown of the year for Ron Johnson. And the Ticats have now blown this one wide open.
Well, you know, Pat, it doesn't surprise me at all because it's just been a matter of time with the offensive statistics that the Ticat offense has had already in 5 games this year. It was only a matter of time before they exploded for some points. Again, another look at Ron Johnson down the sidelines. Quite frankly, I didn't realize he had that type of speed. He just flies into the end zone. The Ticats are ahead 34-11.
Hamilton's total offense to this point, 376 yards. That touchdown pass traveled a total of 55 yards. As the Ticats have gone out in front, 34-11.
Kind of nice when you can pick up 55 yards in 2 plays and come out of it with a touchdown as well.
Dale Lindsay's fears were well founded, though, when he was talking to us before the game. He said, you know, intensity is such an important thing. We were so high for that game against Edmonton, I just don't know what to expect here tonight. He knows now.
Well, it's common knowledge among the Argonaut players that this stadium is not called Ivor Wynn Stadium. They feel it's Never Win Stadium.
And it's been that way for most of the past decade. Ball bounces down to Terry Greer, who starts from his 10. And Greer has a pretty good return out to about the 32 or 33 yard line as the 3rd quarter comes to an end. The score, Hamilton 34, Toronto 11. We'll return with the 4th quarter in a moment. Statistical story of the first 3 quarters. The Argos need points in a hurry. The screen to Bronk. And the big fella does it again. He gets to the 53-yard line, a gain of 20 yards before Gerald Best, number 14, brings him down. Argos need points in a hurry, and this is a pretty good way to pick up big yardage.
Well, you can't get it all at once, and this is a good way to get the offense going. Again, they do a good job of setting up that screen. You see John Malinowski out in front, and I'll tell you, Bob Bronk's having a heck of a game. He's running really well with that football.
Holloway throws, Mitter makes the catch, but he's nailed immediately at about the 53-yard line, which would be a gain of 4 or 5 yards. Bess and Shaw, 14 and 37 respectively, make the tackle.
Well, we see Bob Obilovich on the sidelines and talking to his assistant coaches up in the booth, trying to find that one play that'll get them back in this ball game.
You know, you talk about good athletes. Obi is in the Montana Hall of Fame. He was an All-American in football. He was an All-American in baseball. And he, of course, played basketball and coached it in the Ottawa area. Holloway throws. Oh, what a hit, but Greer hung on. A tremendous hit for the Ticats by number 24, Hazen Henderson.
Well, isolating on Terry Greer here, he circles back into the middle, sees Holloway in trouble, and I'll tell you, number 24, Hazen Henderson, puts a heck of a hit, but give Greer credit. He hung on to the football, keeping this Toronto Argonaut drive alive.
First down, Toronto at the Hamilton 31. Holloway throws into the middle. The catch is made. to about the 15-yard line by Paul Pearson. Ben Zambiazzi made the tackle along with Howard Fields. And again, something you pointed out, Pearson coming back to the football, seeing his quarterback in trouble.
Well, he certainly did. This is your impromptu offense right here because the pattern was shut down. Pearson just turned around and started going the other way. Not a great pass, but the results were good.
Ball inside the Hamilton 15. Argos trail 34-11. They need the touchdown desperately. Greer off his fingertips. He had cleanly beaten Leroy Paul.
Well, Holloway's upset with himself. He knew he had Greer open there. I'll tell you, Leroy Paul's very fortunate because he gambles here, coming underneath Terry Greer, trying for the interception. And this forced Holloway to loft the ball just a little farther and just out of the fingertips of Terry Greer.
Conrad has been good on 15 of 24 tonight for 238 yards. But he needs a touchdown pass here desperately to get Toronto closer. The Ticats comfortably in front at this moment, 34-11. To Greer again. Touchdown! What a catch, Terry Greer. There is a flag down on the field on the far side of the field.
Defensive forward pass interference. Hamilton number 14 declined.
Pass interference against Gerald Best declined by the Argos. What a catch by Terry Greer.
Well, I'll tell you, I really like the style of this man right here, Conridge Holloway. The play didn't work just before. He goes right back to the same thing. This time, different results as we see. Terry Greer, great concentration on the football. He had Joe Kuklo coming across in front of him, Leroy Paul on his back, but he's the big play man for the Toronto Argonauts. 2 touchdowns last week against the Edmonton Eskimos, and he gets the Argonauts back into this ball game with that TD reception.
5 out of 6 on that touchdown drive for quarterback Conrad Holloway. Point after is good. And so the score now is Hamilton 34, Toronto 18. We'll be back in just a moment. 34, Toronto 18, 11:36 left to play in the game. Lots of time. Starting from his own 2-yard line is Stapler, and he's contained inside the 20. Jeff Gabrielson was down to make the tackle, and this is what the Argos have done so well all season long. Their special teams have been outstanding. Let's watch at an outstanding catch.
Well, Toronto Argonauts with that never say die attitude and could possibly get them back into this game. Just an outstanding catch. I'm surprised Joe Kuklo didn't really make an attempt to rearrange Terry Greer a little bit there, but nevertheless, Greer hung on, and Toronto Argonauts are back in the ball game.
Hamilton starts from just inside their 19-yard line. First down. Give is to Obi Graves. Graves with good effort gets out over the 25 to about the 26. He'll have close to 7 yards.
You may have noticed in the last offensive series for the Hamilton Ticats, Howard Fields came off the field. He injured his right hand. For a while, they thought it might have been broken. He's got a bad contusion on the back of it. They've wrapped it, and they think he'll be ready to go back in on the next defensive move for the Ticats. That's Howard Fields.
Thank you, Bill. Second down, a long 2 to go for the Ticats. The toss goes to Graves, and he'll be very close to the first down. Referee Lauren Woods calls for the yardsticks to come in as Bobo Bilovich explains matters to quarterback Conrad Holloway. And of course, they were together in Ottawa when Obi was an assistant to head coach George Brancato, who must have gone through 3 pails of ice last night, knowing George with those 3 touchdowns called back. It is a first down for the Ticats. The ball is just outside their 29-yard line. 10:20 left to go in the game. Hamilton 34, Toronto 18. Johnson makes the catch and has another first down at the 42-yard line. He was hit immediately by JoJo Heath, but Ron Johnson, who scored a sensational touchdown earlier in this game, makes the grab.
Well, you know, Pat, it was interesting to note when you interviewed Tom Clements at the beginning of the show tonight that he said that the way they had to beat that pass rush of the Argonauts was to roll out, and his offensive line's given him plenty of time to throw the football tonight, and the results are obvious.
The give is to Mark Bragagnola. He's wrapped up early by Earl the Pearl Wilson, number 58. His gain will be a couple of yards at most. Wilson's a healthy boy, 6'4", 265 pounds. Came to the Argos from the University of Kentucky. Clock is running with 9.5 minutes left to play in the game. Clements has got Obi Graves wide open, and Graves makes the catch inside the 40-yard line. Had Tommy spotted him a moment earlier and Obi hadn't stumbled, he was into the end zone.
Well, you're absolutely right, Pat, but when things are going well, they really go well. Obi Graves sneaks down the sidelines, and really, as Pat mentioned, had he not stumbled and possibly got the ball sooner, he could have scored, but as I said, when things are going right, they really go right.
The gain was 28 yards at his first down. Ticats inside the Toronto 40-yard line. Catch is made by Johnson again. Will be short of the first down as JoJo Heath put the hit on him, but Johnson did a good job, hauled it in, and the Cats will have less than a yard to go for the first down.
They certainly must have seen something in the films about the two Toronto cornerbacks that they could be successful running the out pattern against them, because I would say between the two receivers, Johnson and Keith Baker, they've at least caught 12 outs against the Toronto corners this evening.
That's the 5th pass reception for Ron Johnson, and Baker has a total of 11 by himself. Second and less than a yard to go. The ball was fumbled but recovered by the Ticats.
Well, you know, Pat, just by watching that offensive surge by the Ticat offensive line, it's no wonder why maybe in the third quarter Tom Clements on 3rd and inches threw the ball.
There's another injury, gentlemen, for the Toronto Argonauts. Tony Atunovic, who is sitting on the bench, number 54. The left knee was racked up earlier in this game, as I told you. Well, now I just talked to Dr. Jackson again. He says it's definitely torn cartilage. They will operate on him tomorrow. As you know, that means 6 weeks or so anyway.
Tony from Simon Fraser University, one of the many, many products from that outstanding school. As Bernie Ruoff will try a 40-yard field goal. If he's good, it'll be his 5th of the night. And it is good. 5 out of 6 field goals for Bernie Ruoff. And now the Ticat lead is 37-11 over Toronto, and we'll be back in just a moment. Cheat them out of a touchdown. The score is Hamilton 37, Toronto 18, as the Argos scrimmage now from their 35-yard line. Cedric Minter makes the catch in the middle, fumbles the ball. It is still loose, and the Ticats have recovered. Well, Minter made the reception, took a big hit, coughed up the ball, and the Ticats have it.
Well, the Hamilton Ticats are certainly putting it all together tonight, and unfortunately the Toronto Argonauts are their victims. A good offensive play. Minter makes a good catch, but watch the hit by number 24, Hazen Henderson, as he comes in and just rocks Cedric Minter, forcing him to fumble a football, and the Ticats will recover. But credit that fumble to number 24, Hazen Henderson, who comes in on obvious passing situations. The Argonauts so far behind at this point, Bud Riley anticipating the pass and inserting that extra defensive back.
That's the second big hit by Hazen Henderson. He does not come from Maryland or Kentucky or Mississippi or any place like that. He comes from Simon Fraser University. Boy, he's a keeper, isn't he?
Well, he certainly is, and I had a chance to watch him when he got some more playing time in the exhibition season, and he's going to be a good one.
First down, Hamilton at midfield. Keith Baker makes the catch and crosses into the Toronto 49-yard line before Don Rose makes the tackle. Well, they say out of adversity, good things can happen. The Argos have been kind of pumped up, and they really did like themselves, particularly that defensive secondary. They're young, they're very aggressive, and they've had good success. But tonight they've been rocked by a very experienced quarterback, Tom Clements. The gain was 7 yards. It is 2nd and 3. Well, there was good penetration there by Rick Moore. But there is a flag down on the field.
Now it appears as though number 79, Rusty Olson, the right defensive end for the Argonauts, jumped offside. We'll have to wait for the official call. The way Tom Clements is arguing it, they could be calling Keith Baker for drawing them offside.
Procedure, Hamilton number 3, declined. 3rd down.
Well, they called Stapler for a procedure call. It looked like he was trying to draw Olson offside. He succeeded in doing so, but they called it as a legal procedure.
Well, I knew it was one of those guys. But you know, Pat, we have to talk a little bit about the Toronto Argonauts. You know, they've come off a big win with the Edmonton Eskimos. Nobody in their wildest dreams expected them to defeat the defending Grey Cup champions. And also the week before, they were underdogs out in Saskatchewan. So really, if there's some letdown tonight, it really can be understood.
And let's face it, it's good for the Eastern Conference to have Hamilton and Toronto both battling for first place. Jan Carinci from his 13. And Carinci gets out over the 25 to the 26. He took a gamble, hoping to jump through the tacklers, but he got hung up in midair. So it's Hamilton 37, Toronto 18. We'll be back in just a moment.
What's more natural than natural light?
When the feast runs deep, fresh and flavorful, what's more natural than Natural Light beer? Ah, Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch, the beer with a taste for food. Just naturally right with all those good things from the sea you love to eat. So when you've really put something into a meal...
What's more natural than Natural Light?
To some, this is the ultimate test of a color film's sharpness. A color enlargement stretching over 60 feet across New York's Grand Central Terminal. Yet enlarged, believe it or not, from this little 35mm slide on Kodachrome film by Kodak. It's the sharpest color slide film you can buy.
The injured player is Jeff Blanchard, number 75, Leif.
You know, an interesting story about Jeff Blanchard. He went through training camp with the Ticats, and Bud Riley really liked him, but unfortunately he couldn't move Ben Zambiese out of a starting position, and there were a few more critical areas that they had to keep people on the reserve list, so he was released, went and signed with the Washington Redskins, and Bud Riley had friends on the coaching staff down there, and he called them and said, listen, if and when you release this kid Blanchard, call me before you do, because I want him back. He's a player, and I have room for him in the lineup now. So we see him coming off the field, and he's healthy. So that's the story on Jeff Blanchard, and good communication down at the NFL from Bud Riley.
First down, Argos from their 26-yard line. To Minter again. This time he makes the catch and also hangs onto the ball as he gets to the 50-yard line. The clock, of course, is going to work against the Argos right now because we've only got 5 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the ball game, and they trail 37-18.
Well, Cedric Minter's had himself a heck of a game. He just finds a little seam in between John Priestner and David Shaw, and he's certainly trying out there, making some good catches and running the football as well.
First down, Argos at their 50. Oh, Holloway did a good job to sneak away from the rush. Pearson makes the catch, and he's inside the Hamilton 35 to about the 33. Gerald Best makes the tackle.
I'll tell you, Conridge Holloway shows that sixth sense again, because it was that defensive end, Grover Covington, coming in on him, and he just ducks underneath him right here. And when you give his receivers that much time to get open, they certainly will, as we see him hitting Paul Pearson.
The fourth reception of the night, the 24th of the season for Paul Pearson. First down, Toronto. Holloway throws it to the big fullback, Bronk. And Bronk has another first down to about the 11.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts certainly aren't quitting, as they have gotten excellent mileage out of the center screen play. Once again, Bob Bronk takes it. Good blocking out in front.
Watch the move.
You know, I thought he only ran straight ahead, but he showed us some good nifty footwork tonight. Howard Fields finally making the stop.
First down, Argos. The ball at the Hamilton 11. Looking for Terry Greer. Touchdown. Well, he's unbelievable, this guy. You just can't do a better job defending against him, and Greer comes up with his second touchdown of the ball game.
Well, no doubt about it. Leroy Paul was all over him, and in fact, when I first saw the play, I thought Leroy Paul had made the interception, but Terry Greer just outfights him for the football, and he's got his second touchdown of the ball game.
Well, another impressive drive by Conrad Holloway, 4 for 4 in passing, and the touchdown strike to Greer, and the Argos will now go for 2. And the two-point conversion is good to Cedric Minter. Well, anything can happen in the CFL. We're probably going to have a short kick right now. We've got 3 minutes and 19 seconds left to play, and the score is Hamilton 37, Toronto 26.
Well, I'll tell you, this is really backyard football here, because all the receivers, they're just running all over the field trying to find an open spot, and Cedric Minter did, and Holloway hits him on the two-point conversion. And once again, the last ball game we felt the team behind Saskatchewan out there could come back, but they didn't. But Toronto Argonauts certainly aren't laying down at all. They have a legitimate shot to come back here in the fourth quarter.
All right, you kick it short. 3 minutes, 19 seconds left to play. You need 2 touchdowns.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Bud Riley thinks they're going to kick it short, because they got that short kick team in there. And I really think, being down 11 points, that you really have to go for the onside kick at this point. And if you don't get it, hope your defense comes up with a turnover.
Conridge has been good on 22 of 31 passes tonight, his last 7 in a row, for 367 yards and 3 touchdowns. Holloway dribbles at 10 yards. But the Ticats get it as Karn Kartiri comes up with the ball right at midfield.
Well, that's a good play by Karn Kartiri. Those aren't the easiest balls to field, and he did what he had to do. Just get your hands on it and cover it up, and make sure you don't cough it up to the onside kicking team. Good kick by Andrew Shishin. Of course, Jeff Gabrielson just couldn't get down there in time, but Kartiri made an excellent play.
So the Ticats have it at midfield with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left to play in the ball game. Now, does Tommy play it conservatively, run the ball? We're going to find out. Gives it to Obi Graves, and Graves is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. But that moves us inside 3 minutes. We've got 2 minutes, 56 seconds left to play in the ball game. Hamilton 37, Toronto 26. We'll be back in just a moment.
Avis steps ahead with New Avis Express.
Situation, Hamilton 37, Toronto 26, 2 minutes, 56 seconds left to play in the ball game. 2nd and 10, Hamilton from midfield. Total offense, Hamilton 438 yards, Toronto 398. Not bad, 836 yards in one ball game.
Well, it certainly has been an exciting ball game. I think it was everything we expected. Maybe a few more points were scored than we anticipated.
There's your pal Ben Zambiazzi.
There's old Ben getting a new headband there. He must have got a little knock. But
he got a knock, as a matter of fact, before they went out in that short kickoff. He was bleeding profusely and refused to come in. He went out and did his spot anyway. He's that kind of player, Ginoli.
Certainly is.
Clemens' pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So the clock will stop now on the incompletion. And Bernie Ruoff will come in for only his 3rd punt of the ball game. And how many field goals has Bernie tried? He's tried 6. He's been good on 5 of them.
Well, that's just an amazing statistic in the Canadian Football League when, of course, we only have 3 downs to only have 3 punts. Usually the kickers are up around 8, 9, and 10 punts a ball game. So that really tells the story of how well the Hamilton Ticat offense has moved the football.
Ruoff standing at his 40-yard line. Good punt into that win. This is Carinci at his 10. Jan Carinci reminds me of another 27 who returns punts, Paul Bennett. They have that ability to just find a little bit of a seam, and though Carinci didn't return it very far that time, he hung on to the ball and he went straight ahead to the 22-yard line. So now the clock is again stopped at 2:28 on the exchange. The Ticat, he even looks happy tonight, that little fellow.
Yeah, well, he should be. His club's out in front.
Holloway throws. Greer makes the reception and steps out of bounds, and he may be inches short of the 1st down. He is. As a matter of fact, he's about a half-yard short. Clock is stopped, however, at 2:23 left to play. Of course, for the tie, the Argos need an 8-point touchdown, 6 and a 2-point conversion, and then the field goal. But they've got to get one or the other very quickly. Hamilton 37, Toronto 26. 2nd and less than a yard, Argos. Cedric Minter gets the 1st down as he bowls his way out to about the 33. Now this surprises me a little bit that Toronto is going to huddle. And once referee Lauren Woods signals time in, the clock starts again. We're down to 2:15. Minter makes the catch, and Cartieri makes the tackle at about the 41.5-yard line. He'll be a yard short of the 1st down. But the clock is stopped at 2:04.
Once again, it's out of bounds, so it does stop the clock, as Pat mentioned, and this gives the Argonauts a chance to bring their short yardage offense into the ball game to try and pick up that 1st down.
Minter has caught 8 passes tonight for 141 yards. And he's the ball carrier right here for the 1st down out to the 44-yard line with 2 minutes exactly showing on the clock.
I quite agree with you, Pat. Here's where they really have to put that hurry-up offense, because as soon as the official blows the whistle, the clock will start to run. Exactly. I agree. They should be in that hurry-up offense.
Wide open was Minter in the middle. He has a 1st down inside the 40 at about the 38. 1:39 left on the clock. The gain was 27 yards.
Well, once again, the Argonauts keep coming back. This time, Conrad Holloway scrambling around, and his receivers have done a great job this evening of finding the open spots.
Well, I'd be going to Terry Greer right about here. And Holloway throws underneath to Pearson, and Pearson does a good job to struggle his way out of bounds in the grasp of Howard Fields.
I tell you, Howard Fields, he was trying to keep Pearson in bounds there to keep that clock moving, but he gets it out and stops the clock, and Toronto's looking impressive.
1:28 left in the ball game. Hamilton 37, Toronto 26. And this crowd hasn't let up all night. They started cheering during the pregame workouts. This is Minter. And Minter is stopped just after a gain of maybe a couple of yards.
Well, that's good defense. Number 37, Dave Shaw, made sure that there was no way Minter was going to get to the sidelines and get out of bounds to stop the clock. And Bob Obilovich certainly has to be concerned right now. He needs to score and score quickly.
All right, now you want me to put on my coaching hat? I go for the field goal right now.
I tell you, it's a good thing you're up here and Obilovich is down there, because...
Well, if I get the field goal, I'm within 8 points.
Well, I really disagree with you at this point, Pat. I think they, in order to even have a chance, they have to get the major, so you try and get that first. Nevertheless, Conrad Holloway tonight has been 27 for 36, so he's enjoyed an outstanding evening, as well as Tom Clements.
Conrad has been good on 12 of his last 12 passes. You can't do much better than that, can you?
No, he's really played well.
There is a timeout called, of course, by the Argonauts right here as Conrad Holloway talks it over with Bob Obilovich. See, the point that I make is this. If you don't get the first down here, you have no shot at tying the game. If you get the field goal, you still at least can try for the onside kickoff again. However, if they get the touchdown, I may reverse my decision.
Well, you know, I think I'm going to let the argument rest in what they do on third down here.
All right. They're going for it, I know that. It is third and about 4 yards to go for the first down. Gronk fumbles the ball. It is ruled no catch. And so the Hamilton Ticats are going to win their third ball game of the season.
Well, and give the Hamilton Ticat defense full marks there. Holloway trying to set up that center screen once again to Bob Bronk. But number 36, John Priestner, the middle linebacker, had Bronk in man-to-man coverage, and he was right there to jar the ball loose, and the Argonauts turn over the ball on downs.
I'd have gone for the field goal.
Yeah, maybe I would have too now.
1:03 left to play in the ball game. It is Hamilton 37, Toronto 26. And the Cats will sit on it. Tommy Clements takes 2 steps back, drops to one knee as the minute flag goes up.
Well, you certainly couldn't have asked for a more entertaining football game. Both teams up and down the field, lots of offense, and certainly that's what the fans here at Ivor Wynne came to see, and they have to go home pleased. Even if you're an Argonaut fan, you have to be pleased with the way they've come back in the fourth quarter.
Generally speaking, if you're a Toronto Argonaut fan and you knew that your club was going to score 26 points, you would have expected them to win because they have played so well defensively all year. But the Ticats were overly impressive today, as a matter of fact, as Tommy Clements grounds the ball again with 40 seconds showing on the clock, and now they'll punt it away. Well, as Leaf said, a very entertaining ball game, a big, big victory for the Ticats. Their record now goes to 3-3. The Argos go to 3-2-1. So Toronto will maintain first place in the Eastern Conference, but now just by a single point.
Well, this certainly could be the game that gets the Hamilton Tiger Cats back on the right track. As we mentioned, they were struggling, but an excellent effort this evening.
Jan Carinci from his 48 and gets into Hamilton territory at the 53 with just 11 seconds showing on the clock. Bill Stevenson had mentioned that Toronto had only won 2 games in here in the last decade. They're going to have to wait a little longer.
Well, in fact, with the full interlocking schedule now, they'll have to wait till next year.
Unless they meet in the playoffs.
Oh, now you're right there. Well, you like doing that to me, don't you, Pat?
Holloway puts it up for Greer. He makes the catch, and the Argos won't quit. As Greer goes down at the 22-yard line, and Greer is still down. And that could be the most costly pass that the Argos have thrown this year if this man is badly hurt.
Q, how will I know you're...
Boy, you hate to see that. I'll tell you, when he came down, Leroy Paul made a good tackle, but he caught him right on the outside of the knee, and Terry Greer missed most of last season with a knee injury, and boy, I tell you, I hope that's not the case, because he's just been an outstanding performer for the Argonauts. You get a chance to see it again. Just there, Leroy Paul pinned that knee to the ground, and he's played so well this season. Terry Greer, 2 touchdowns last week to win the ball game against Edmonton, and now 2 touchdowns tonight in a losing effort. But once again, let's hope that this isn't serious.
Well, with just 3 seconds showing on the clock, the Argos are going to go for the field goal because, of course, should these teams be tied at the end of the regular season, it would be points for and against the 2 clubs. The Argos can't win this game, but they can get the differential down to 8 points. The field goal by Andrew Sisson is wide. And so the final score after that missed field goal attempt by Zenon Andrew Sisson is the Hamilton Tiger Cats 37, the Toronto Argonauts 27, and the Argos lead in the Eastern Conference is down to a single point. CTV's Friday Night Football will continue.